Hey Spuddies, Potato Big Whiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Fantasy General 2 Invasion. I have had a lot of fun trying this game out. It was given to me for free by Slytherin Games. It's owned by Gravity. I think it was Paolo from Slytherin who gave me the key. Thank you so much for the key for the game. I'm so glad that I've got an opportunity to play it. This is not a sponsored video, but I did get the game for free. However, I'm also going to do what I would normally do in a sponsored video and give you guys a recommendation. If you want the game, go check it out on the Steam store. There'll be links in the description if you want to check it out. There'll be a pinned comment. There'll be all that sort of jazz. I definitely recommend this game if you're into turn-based strategy and all that sort of jazz. Go ahead and at least take a look at it. Normally I would already give that kind of recommendation if I had like really liked a game, and this is a game that I really like. Now you can do all sorts of different stuff. You can do a campaign, a skirmish, and multiplayer. I don't think there's anyone online right now because the game actually technically isn't out for another couple of days, but we're going to go ahead and jump into a new campaign here, and we're going to play the invasion campaign nice and slow, nice and easy, and sort of just work our way through the game mechanics, describing how things work and teaching you guys how to play so that you can get an idea of what the game mechanics are. There's a whole bunch of story that I'm going to kind of skip over purely just to make things a little bit easier and keep the gameplay flowing. I'll do the bare minimum of explanation of the story. Basically, this particular mission is we are gathering some supplies by raiding another clan so that our clan can make it through the winter. Now we start off with a group of units. We have our hero unit here for Learson. He is carrying a warhammer. It does 15 damage and he gets to attack 3 times and it pierces 2 armor. Units have a whole bunch of stats like health, for example. This is how much damage they can take, pretty straightforward. They have a squad size. This is how many units are in their squad. If I go look at these spearmen, for example, they have 8 units, whereas these light shock infantry have 10 units. And what this means is every certain amount of health that they take, they have 250 health. That means every 25 health that they take, they will lose one of their squad members, which means they'll lose one of their attacks because the amount of attacks they do is based on the number of units they have. Because there's an attacks with 3 and then X1, and the X1 is based on how many units are in the squad. Now the current objective is to head to the north to clear this out, so I'm going to go ahead and send Philirson. I'm going to send Thoralf's pack right here up into this forest, and there's a kind of an interesting mechanic where if you see this little blue eye symbol, basically what that means is that this unit is concealed. Other units cannot see him. There are no units that can see him currently. So if a unit ends their turn adjacent to him, both of these guys, like if a unit walks up to here, both of these guys will attack them and get an ambush attack because these guys have the ambush attribute, which means anyone who enters into a tile who didn't have vision of them will take a free attack from both of them. And I can kind of bait the enemy into attacking me. If I position Philirson here, this guy is going to see, oh, I want to attack Philirson. I can attack him from this tile or this tile. I'm going to head over to this more defendable tile and attack Philirson, but this more defendable tile is very easily ambushed because I have these two guys here. And this is part of how you're going to want to manipulate the AI in your favor. Otherwise, I'm just going to bring my spearmen up. These guys are more armor piercing. They have slightly lower damage. It's 7 times 8, which is some amount of damage. I can't remember how to do the math off the top of my head. But more importantly, they pierce 4 armor. And you can see here, 4 armor gives you about roughly 30% physical damage reduction. If you take a moment to look at Philirson, he has 5 armor, so he has about 36% physical damage reduction. Units also have like a search range, which is how far they can see. They also have a morale. Morale depicts how much damage you can take from magic, or how much magic damage you can resist, basically. If you have a higher morale, you will take less magic damage, so getting morale buffs for your units is really good if you're going up against any unit that does magic damage. And like any sort of turn-based strategy game, units have 2 actions. They can move and attack, or, well, more accurately, they can move and do an action because some units have more than 1 action. Let's end the turn, and as predicted, this guy is going to walk up here and take the ambush attack from both of these guys. Now, the really interesting thing about ambush attacks is the enemy does not get to retaliate. And also nicely, this little wolf pack came over here. So now there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. You can see here this unit has taken a certain amount of damage, and one of these health bar pips has gone black. What that means is that this unit is actually dead. It can recover its health, but only up to this bar here. These other units that are fully red are wounded. So for now, if I go over here and I hold down the control key, you can see they're only going to do 36 damage. Now these wolves do have some armor, so that's going to muddy the waters a little bit. But basically, these guys are only able to attack 7 times now. Whereas, for example, if I go back over to these guys who haven't taken damage, they can do damage. They can still do their full 60 damage. And you can kind of see that if I hover over these guys will do 50 damage, whereas these guys will do 35. because one of their units has been killed and 2 of them have been wounded, so they can't do the full strike that they would like to. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack with the Brotherhood of Ravens. Although first, actually, I'm going to bring my spearmen, or spear women. These are actually ladies. These are spear maidens. We're going to bring them up and attack them from the left here, which gives us the flanking bonus. If I hold down control, you can see over here, there's all sorts of things. They have rough terrain. We also have a flanking bonus, giving us a 30% damage boost. And these guys are weak, meaning they have less health and do less damage. They do have I have some armor, so they're not going to do as much damage to me. So I can use this as a way to soften them up. Like so, they're now softened up. And then attack them with my fully ready to attack guy over here. And this will kill them, and I'll take over this tile, which will allow me to get a flanking bonus on this wolf pack over here. And now I can bring my hero, Felirsen, up here to attack the wolves from the side. And you can see we're also getting a flanking bonus right here. We're getting a 10% flanking bonus. It's not a huge amount, but it is a nice amount. Let's hit these wolves. This will do a significant amount of damage to them, and then I might be able to finish them off with this warrior. There's a small chance that one of these guys die. I think there's a way to tell. We have one guaranteed casualty, but it's not guaranteed that the unit actually dies. It's only guaranteed that the unit will be wounded. Let's attack here. They broke my charge. And I did, in fact, have another unit die, which kind of sucks because that's going to have implications later on that we'll talk about. But we did manage to kill both of those units, and both of those units were worth 30 experience, or 10 experience each, which means all of my units now have 20 experience, and it takes about 100 experience to get your first level. Every level gives you 10% damage and 5% damage and 10% more health. Okay, let's call that the end of this turn. One of the really cool thing about the scenarios in this game is there's often multiple paths that you can kind of explore. I happen to remember that there might be something down here because I have played this mission before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to capture this settlement. And now what this settlement does is it offers me the opportunity to restore my squads. I don't have any gold, so I can't actually restore my squads, but if you have a unit on top of one of these things, you can actually click this button down here, Restore Squad. Also, if you want to hire new units, you can recruit them around here. You can see, if I scroll away, you can see this is the little deployment zone around this town. You can deploy new units to that area. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the unique barbarian thing and actually raid this settlement. What this will do is it will destroy it and give me some resources from destroying it. It'll also lower the region wealth by 1, which means that when we get to the end of the mission, we'll get slightly less money. And the amount of money, bonus cash that you get at the end of the mission is dictated by how much this wealth bar is full. So the faster you finish the mission, the more money you get. I'm going to send Felirsen down here to the southwest because I believe, if I remember correctly, there is a pack of wolves that's worth killing down here. And there's also a shrine over here that will give me a 15% chance to not suffer kills. This other unit, on the other hand, I'm going to go ahead and tell him to rest. And what resting will do is it will restore the red health. It won't restore the black health, but it will restore the red health. I'm also going to bring Linnair's spears down this way to help out against these wolves who will hopefully attack Felirsen. And here they come. They're going to attack Felirsen. They'll take a chunk of damage. We'll also take a chunk of damage, but that's fine. So I'm going to move Felirsen to the left. I'm going to bring the spear maidens over here. I'm going to bring the light shock infantry to here. And now we have extra bonus flanking on this unit. So I'm going to attack with Felirsen first because he's the least likely to take casualties because he only has a single unit. That will do damage to the wolves, lowering how much damage they will do to my other units. I'm then going to attack with my Linnair spears, but what I also want to do is I want to make sure that this unit over here is within 3 tiles of the unit that I kill. If I hover over here, you can see it gets 10 experience, and units only get experience if they're within 3 tiles of a unit that is killed. So, for example, I may as well just park him on this raided settlement. Now, out of raiding the settlement, I actually grabbed myself 25 gold. So let's go ahead and finish this wolf off. We might take a casualty. It's a very low chance, and we did actually take a casualty, which is a bit unfortunate. Anyway, let's not beat around the bush and move on to the next turn. Felirsen, I'm going to take a moment to heal on Felirsen because he's taken a fair amount of damage. With Linnair's spears, I'm going to go ahead and send them back around the road because these guys aren't quite as good as walking through rough terrain compared to these guys. So I'll send the Linnair's spearmen along this road. I'm going to use the Brotherhood of Ravens to capture this shrine, which is going to give me the protected buff, which means my units have a 15% chance less, or 15% better chance to not lose a unit, which means that one of these bars turn black when they take a certain amount of damage, which means I'll be able to preserve more of my units, which means I'll be able to preserve more of my experience. And let's go ahead and send Thoraf's pack up here towards this next settlement. And we'll send Linnair's spears up this way as well. We want to use the road if we can. Whereas these guys are pretty happy to run through the forest. I'm not sure if Felirsen is that good at going through the forest as well, but We'll slowly move up towards the settlement because we want to keep moving. But we also want to be cautious and not overextend. All right, let's hit up the next turn and see what happens. All right. So I know for a fact that there is a unit right here because I've played this mission before. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get vision on them with this guy by moving up this way. And we did in fact get vision of them. And then we're going to move Thoraf's pack into the city where they'll be safer and have a harder time getting damaged by these guys. And we're going to do a huge amount of damage to them because if I hold down control here, you can see I'm doing a charge, which means I have a bonus attack. I can't remember exactly how charge works. Yeah, 100% melee damage as charge attack. So these guys are just better at attacking rather than defending. So I will do 96 damage to them. Let's go ahead and do that. Took a huge chunk of them. We even killed one of their units and we damaged them. Let's bring the spearmen or the spear women up because we want them to get experience. And let's bring Felirsen up as well. And then we could raid this if we wanted to. And you know what? I actually am going to raid this and then we'll go to the next turn. Now, I broke their charge and they did a whole bunch of damage to me, but I found some weapons. Now, what this is going to allow me to do is to upgrade one of my units into Slingers. Slingers are a ranged type of unit that are very good at supporting melee units. They're pretty vulnerable to ranged attacks on their own, but they're really, really good at doing support attacks. So basically, if they're standing next to a melee unit that gets attacked by another melee unit, they will do a support attack, which means they'll attack the thing that attacked that melee unit. Anyway, let's go ahead and take the Slinger promotion or upgrade on these guys. And there's a whole tech tree that we can talk about. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and take a Slinger on these guys. Now, they still get to keep their full action. And the really interesting thing about Slingers... unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get the experience on Felirsen, but I'm okay with that. But the really cool thing about Slingers is that they do their full they do twice as much damage if they're in melee range. If you go over here and hover over the sling, you can see point blank. Sorry, it's 50% more damage when they're in melee range. You can see they do 7 damage. They have a range of 2, so I could attack from a range away, or I could get up and close and personal and do a whole bunch of damage. Now, in this particular situation, I think these guys are likely to retreat or get killed next turn anyway, so I'm just going to save that so I can get the experience on Felirsen and then move on to the next town. So let's go ahead and end our turn. Yep, like I predicted, they're going to try to retreat. I'm going to send Felirsen over to here. I'm going to use the Slingers to finish these guys off. I'm going to take a turn to rest on these guys, and then I'm going to put my Spear Maidens to here to be approaching this town next turn. Right, now another really interesting promotion that the Missile Infantry Slingers have is they have plenty of ammo, which means if they are in rough terrain, which is this particular type of terrain, they will get infinite defensive fires. Normally units only get 1 defensive fire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position Felirsen right here, and then ideally I would position my Slingers on this rough terrain. I can't do that this turn, so I may as well position them right here and throw a slingshot at these guys, do a little bit of damage, and then I'll have the spearmen take up this position. Now, I don't want to attack just yet because these guys are pretty rough. I don't want to attack with my spearmen. I want them to attack into me because I think it's just better to defend with spearmen. Then I'm going to however, take the chance to attack with my hero here to soften these spearmen up. And now that these guys have healed up, I'll bring them up to the front line so they can do a little bit more. And let's end the turn. Now, the really cool thing is these guys have this little green indicator, which means they have a defensive fire charge available, which means if you see, if I click on the enemy unit and then attack one of my units, you could see that my Slingers are going to attack them. And you can see if these guys attack me, for example, look at their health bar, it'll almost kill them by half. So this attack is extremely dangerous to us. To them, rather. So this is a really good way to make use of your ranged units to support your melee units. As you can see, they're coming around the side. My Slingers get to attack first, which will soften them up, and then my Spearmen get to do their damage as well. And then these Spearmen will attack me. Now, I'll take a huge chunk of damage, but it's mostly just health damage. It's not like actual units dying damage, which is the kind of health damage that we can deal with because we can recover that relatively easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these Spearmen to retreat over here and heal on this rough terrain. I'm going to bring these light shock infantry up here to kill these guys, which will net us experience on all of my units, like so. I'm going to step forward with my Slingers and throw a point-blank sling so that they do their extra damage. You can see here, the sling does 50% more damage at point-blank range, like so. And then I'm going to use my hero to almost but not quite finish them. Awesome. Let's go to the next turn. And they're trying to rest through this, so I may as well just finish them off. I will rest with you, and I will sling you. And there we go, they are now dead. I'm going to go ahead and raid this location for a little bit more cash. And then I may as well just have a quick peek what's over here, and it looks like there isn't really much at all. And we'll just end the turn. Cool, so we picked up another 25 gold, we get another little bit of story. Basically, we have to head home to our clan because we got enough resources. So here's a really interesting phase at the end of a mission. So we didn't finish this mission particularly fast, so we only got 25 gold out of how quickly we finished that mission. Now, we have a choice here. Do we want to preserve the experience that we gained on these units? And I would argue that this is usually pretty well worth it. If the unit is highly leveled and it's relatively cheap. Right now, my units aren't very highly leveled, but it's still pretty cheap, so it might be worth it to actually take this. So I will just go ahead and spend that money because it's not really that big of a deal. And now we find ourselves on the campaign map. We're going to get a whole bunch of story here. I'm going to skip over the story. I'll give you guys an opportunity to talk about it. Occasionally you will get a dialogue choice like this that actually has impact on your unit. I know for a fact if I choose Glory in Battle that my hero Felirson will get an aura around him that it makes his units tougher and do more damage. I know if I pick Might in Combat he will get a boost to his health and damage. I don't know what Blood and Rage does, so I'm going to go ahead and take Blood and Rage to see what that does to him. There'll be a little bit of a storyline about how, oh, I feel differently. And now if I click on Felirson, you can see here, he has +1 speed and he gets a 20% discount on Berserker units, which means Younglings, Berserkers, Werebears, and Cleavers. Now, Younglings are this unit right here, Light Shock Infantry. I actually didn't know that's what that was going to do, but this is a really cool bonus. Now I can get more Younglings. They're really, really cheap in comparison to how they were. Also, if I want to upgrade to Berserkers, it now only costs 2 weapons and 98 gold. Whereas before, I think it was 3 weapons and 100 and something gold. I can't remember exactly how much. But that's really cool, because now I can get Werebears, I can get Cleavers, I can get Berserkers, and I will definitely be taking advantage of going for those. Now, normally if I hadn't spent my money, I would have been able to get my hands on some Stag Riders, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hire some Younglings. Just 1 pack of Younglings for the next mission. I could have hired up to 9 units, but I didn't have that kind of money. But I'll have another pack of units that I can use in the next mission, and I'll go ahead and just do Dark Visitor. This is another story mission. It's going to be a whole lot of stuff about Dougal wanting to kind of lead you to somewhere he's bringing you as a sort of thing because he wants you to sort of engage in some sort of thing. It's going to have consequences for later on in the game, but basically he's, you know, kind of just like asking you to follow him and look after him and make sure he gets where he's going safely. So this is the deployment phase, which we didn't get to take part in the last mission. You get to choose how to deploy your units. I don't think it really matters that much in this particular mission. I just kind of throw people down where it looks pretty reasonable. And I'll just end my deployment and get moving. So Dougal is a sort of black bard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this astral band off of him, but first he actually asks you to do something if you move upwards to here. So I'm going to send Felirson ahead to scout, and you can see here there's a trigger here. He's saying, oh, you know, he's teaching you, basically this is teaching you how to use magic, and units can have certain spells. So I'm going to move Dougal up and click on the Spirit Vision, which is granted to him by the Astral Band. Spirit Vision is a way to scout ahead. So I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of click somewhere in here in the Fog of War. And you can see there are some wolves in the Fog of War that I need to be wary of. If I had clicked up towards here, it would have revealed the trolls and stuff like that, and I wasn't quite ready to reveal the trolls, so I decided against it. Let's get all of our units moving upwards, and we're in position to continue on into the next turn. Felirson could attack these wolves. I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to loot the cave. Well, I kind of would like to get the first attack on these wolves. I'm going to loot the cave though, and this has a bunch of stuff in it. I got a pair of weapons, which means I could in theory get another set of slingers, which I actually would really like to get another set of slingers, so I might go ahead and just grab them. 2 slingers is a pretty good amount, I would say. Let's go ahead and move Dougal up as well. Let's bring the spearmen up. Let's also get these slingers and these slingers moving. We're kind of moving along the road at the moment, and we'll just end our turn right now. Alright, so the wolves attacked Dougal, which is pretty reasonable. So let's put Dougal into the forest and then move the spearmen up. I'm going to bring my slingers up into the forest and hit this guy to do a little bit of damage. I'm going to bring this second set of slingers up as well. And I'm doing this because I want all my units to get the experience from this kill. And then we'll just kill them with, you know, no risk of actually taking damage with my slingers. You can see there, we got a little bit of experience on everyone. We're pretty close to a level at this point. I think there might be something in the Fog of War over here. I might send Thoraf's pack to go deal with that. In the meantime, I'm going to just hold for a turn and go to the next turn. So let's keep Dougal on the road moving forward. Let's also get Felirson moving. I'm going to pop him right up here towards this camp because I happen to know that there's something in the Fog of War that interests me. So this is another situation in which I get to make an interesting decision. Do I want to side with the trolls or do I want to side with the people? In this particular instance, basically, when I was streaming this game on Twitch, I sided with the trolls. And in this one, I'm going to side with my kinsmen, just to kind of see what happens. So I'm going to side with the, 2 axe infantry and the maidens here against the trolls to see if we can make a difference. Right, so I moved all my units around. Let's go ahead and end the turn and see how these guys fare against these trolls. Oh, wow. The trolls are pretty tough, but they're not that tough, actually, if you look at it. Yeah, actually, this troll has been more or less taken down, which is pretty nice. Now these trolls will get a chance to attack back. This guy's retreating for a heal. This guy's doing a charge. Oh goodness, that's a lot of damage. And then these trolls should move up to try to kill these axemen as well. Let's do a little scout into the forest with these guys. I don't think I see anything that I need to loot over here, so that's fine. I just wanted to double check in case there might be something I want to loot with these guys. In the meantime, let's get Philirson up into the fray. I'm going to move him up here to flank this troll. I'm going to get these slingers up into the fight as well, like so. So now they're going to be able to attack this troll, focus fire him, and do a significant amount of damage. We even killed one, which is going to significantly lower how much damage they can do to us. I'll get my spearmen up to hold the line, and I'll bring Dougal along the road. And there's another forest of our group of wolves. Let's get Philirson to attack this troll. Awesome. So that troll is now almost dead. And then we'll go to the next turn. Now, these trolls are worth a lot of experience, I believe. They're worth 30 each, which is an awful lot. These ones are worth 20. So, of course, these axemen retreat. And these guys attack aggressively, killing this guy, which means we all get experience. These guys attack aggressively. And we got a level from that. And Dougal is being attacked again, which is pretty understandable. Now, I also know that there's another troll in the fog of war somewhere over here. Yeah, he's all the way over there, so I'm going to have to try and take him out. Let's get these wolves dealt with as well for now, so I'll bring the Brotherhood of Ravens over to finish that off, and then I will heal with this guy. Although Dougal actually leveled, but I'll take a moment to heal with him. I will grab the Runebound promotion, which will allow him, although Rally is really good. I'm going to grab Runebound, which means gives us basically 6 mana for free. And I also happen to know that there is a Blood Oak over here, because I have done these first 2 missions. I happen to know there's like a Blood Oak over here, and I'm going to send these Spear Infantry over to get the buff from it. Right, so we'll be trying to take out these trolls next turn with Philirson. My allies are resting, they're retreating and healing and all that sort of jazz. Lanier's Spears moving forward. There's the Blood Oak Dougal heading up towards the north. Let's get the Slingers along the road as well. I need to chase down that troll if I can. Also, Philirson has a level. I'm going to grab the Rally ability because morale is really, really important. And what Rally does is it allows me to restore 3 morale, or maybe 2 morale. I can't remember exactly, but it allows me to restore morale to nearby allies, which is really, really important because morale has a lot of negative things associated with it if you start losing morale. Right, we'll head on to the next turn and see what these guys do. I need to get these trolls killed so that I can get these guys on my side properly. So let's approach these trolls and attack them. I need to get units up there to really help out. Let's bring the Slingers up here to kill these wolves, like so. That'll level both of these guys, which is really cool. I'm going to bring the Spearmen over to step into the Blood Oak. I'm going to walk on but bow to the tree very carefully. And what this does is it should give these guys a buff. It didn't give them a buff. That is unfortunate. They're supposed to get the Fated buff, which means they basically were slightly better. I think I might have messed that up. One of the options there gives you like a big buff to one of your units that is permanent, which I was hoping to pick up. Anyway, I need to loot this, and I don't think I can... you know what? I need a unit to explore that camp. Let's go ahead and go to the next turn. My spearmen are being attacked by some wolves, but they're in a pretty defensible position, so these wolves didn't do all that much damage. I'm kind of tempted to send Dougal over to deal with that. Let's bring the Slingers forward. I'd like to capture some stuff and get a hit on this troll. I'm going to keep hitting the troll with Philirson because I don't want them to be able to regenerate very quickly. So by doing this, it prevents them from getting the heal from the other thing. I'm going to kill these wolves with my spearmen. Very nice. Excellent. Now, Dougal, on the other hand, I happen to know that there's also a bear in the Fog of War over here. Let's go ahead and loot this cap. So I'm just going to see what we can find. Rummaging around, we take the loot. So we got a far-seeing helmet, which gives +1 search to a unit. I'm not sure who I want to give that to. I'll leave it on these guys for now. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to these guys, Dougal, and I'm going to take his astral band off him so that I can keep it for myself. And by doing this, I'll basically get to keep it for all future missions. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and send Dougal up here. And there is the famished dire bear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Doom, which will doom all units within a certain range. And that'll mean that they take 50% more damage. So if he tries to attack me, he'll take a whole bunch of damage. I did kind of want to maybe wait on that one because it is worth 30 experience to kill that bear, but it's fine. Dougal actually retreated from the attack. Let's take a moment to heal on Lanaire's spears because they're pretty banged up and it's going to be hard to kill that. I don't mind taking a little bit longer. Let's swing up here with our slingers, shoot this guy, sling up here with our slingers, shoot this guy, and then kill him with Philirson. Alright, so now we get to see Come With Us and March With You. Alright, cool. So these guys have joined me. I don't know if they're mercenaries. Yeah, I think these guys are mercenaries, so I don't get to keep them. But I do get to use them to loot things. So for example, we looted 76 gold from these ruins. I could send these guys forward to fight the bear. I can also send you forward to fight the bear. Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and do some damage to the bear. It's better to attack the bear than be attacked by the bear because the bear can do, charges. And we'll end the turn there. So the bear retreated, actually. Now, I would like to get experience on some of my units from that, but it's not going to happen this turn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Dougal over here. I'm going to do Doom once again, just to damage this guy. I should have moved him forward slightly, but I doomed the bear again, which means I can move maybe Spearman up to do a bit of damage to him. And then hopefully I can get other units in range to get experience next turn. I don't know if that'll work, but I'll give it a go. I should have moved him up to here so that I could end the mission. I would have preserved another bit of experience here. The bear keeps retreating, which is actually kind of in my favor because it means I'll be able to get units in range to get that experience. And let's go ahead and get Dougal up towards this exit area, which is the mission objective. These are not my spearmen, but it would be maybe okay to get a bit of experience on them. So I want to try and get as many units within 3 tiles of this bear when I kill it. I will attack it this turn to get it some damage. Then we'll go to the next turn. Awesome. So let's get Philirson up in range of the bear. Let's get these slingers in range. Spearmen up here. Slingers in range. I may as well get these axemen in range too. So all my units are in range with the exception of these guys who I completely forgot about down here. It would have been nice to get that 30 experience. It would have actually been a kill. Oh man, I kind of can't wait, so I'm going to kill it this turn. So we killed the bear, and then we can go ahead and end the mission by moving Dougal to the end. So I won the mission, but I'm not a troll friend, and because I finished it with 6 ticks left on the supply clock, I got 150 bonus gold, and none of my units took any proper losses, so I didn't have to pay money to restore the experience. And then we get a whole bunch of, stuff. He gives me some money to do some upgrades. Like, for example, I would like these guys to become berserkers for sure. That's one of the things that I want to do. That will take 2 of my weapons, but now I have a pack of berserkers that I can put to good use. These light spear infantry, on the other hand, I would maybe want to turn into stag riders, who are light skirmish cavalry, light magic skirmish cavalry, which means they do more damage to units with low morale. They also have the ability to retreat if they are attacked, but they don't take any weapons to upgrade. They're fairly expensive to upgrade, but I think that's maybe pretty worth it because now they're kind of more, they're kind of light infantry now if I do this. Or light cavalry, and you could turn them into wolf mothers, you could turn them into stag lancers, you could turn them into all sorts of different stuff. I think I'll go ahead and take the stag riders right here. So now I have a pack of stag riders, and then I might go ahead and grab myself another spear maiden, or perhaps even some more younglings. I'm not really sure which I want to do. You know what, I'm going to take another pack of younglings because they're cheaper. And then we get to go on and do the next mission. So you can kind of see that the decisions you make in a mission is going to affect your entire campaign. I'm really excited to see what they do this. I would be really, really interested to see if they would maybe consider, opening up modding for players to make their own campaigns and stuff like that. But it is a really, really interesting game. I've been having a ton of fun with it, and I super, super duper recommend it. That's going to be it for this first episode. I will do more games. I'll probably try to do like a mission or 2 per episode. And I'll love you all very much. Don't forget to check it out on the Steam store. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.